also do various types of anomaly detection. Now you have a global database, you have vessel history, you can mine that information to look for suspicious behavior, whatever that may be in terms of what constitutes vessels laying offshore, vessels meeting other vessels, vessels who turned on or turned off their transponders in particular locations, the history of vessels as to what ports they've visited recently and where else they've gone. All of that sort of information can be mined from this data. Satellite AIS can also complement a number of other existing applications, and they're listed here. And to complement systems like VMS, adding additional information into the LRIT system, perhaps automating some of the notice of arrival requirements and search and rescue. Also be used to validate some declared information such as engine failure stoppages, vessels hove to, etc., or to look at it the other way around and identify some of those conditions where they haven't been reported, if that's the case. Zach Earth was proud to participate earlier this year in a trial of AIS SARTs that was coordinated by AIALA and the U.S. Coast Guard off Hawaii. And there were a range of SARTs that were used there, some at the Class A 12 watt type of power level, but a number of 1 watt as well. The graphic depicts the several hundred vessels that were in the field of view of the spacecraft at that time. We were successfully able to detect all of those SARTs, which does bode very well for that being a potential future application of satellite AIS, using AIS SARTs. There are indeed a number of other potential applications. As I think you're all well aware, there's a wide range of ship reporting systems that are being in use around the world. It's possible that many of these could either be automated or supplemented by the use of satellite AIS data to automate some of that reporting. It's also possible to merge satellite AIS data with other weather or other related data on wave heights, etc., to provide cautionary warnings to vessels if they're heading into an area at an unsafe speed or if they're progressing at an unsafe speed. And again, the converse, satellite AIS data could be used if a vessel is behaving in a very unusual manner and going unusually slowly, etc. This could be flagged to the system as potential damage to that vessel. So AIS is definitely a system for the future. It's a system in very, very wide use at the moment. Satellite AIS is going to further expand those capabilities. As I mentioned, there's a system here that's in full operation globally with more than $1 billion invested in it and many years of successful operation. Satellite AIS is now going to complement the coastal AIS capability to create a global AIS capability. And the other thing about the AIS system is it is actually dedicated to maritime applications. All the infrastructure involved here is completely dedicated to that purpose. So you have a system here that can be significantly leveraged for future potential and definitely play a key role in e-navigation evolution, consolidation of reporting, as was mentioned. But also now you can consider widening the deployment of AIS transponders as well and putting AIS transponders on many other vessels, smaller vessels, navigation hazards. Got Canadians talking to us about whether you can put AIS transponders on icebergs and other hazards to navigation that people really care about. There are a wide range. At the moment, you have on the order of 50,000 Class A units in the system. I think what one could aspire to with this is to greatly increase that number. It certainly supports the efforts to look for additional channel frequencies for the AIS system. In fact, we might even say that maybe 2 isn't enough, that we should take a long view and go after more than that. So the point there is that AIS is, quote unquote, your global system, our global system to build on for the future of maritime security and environmental protection. So just to summarize, satellite AIS detection is here now. This is something that can be worked on immediately. The new math is coastal AIS plus satellite AIS gives a global AIS capability. And that AIS is a successful and substantial global system that can play a major role in the future of e-navigation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Peter. Ladies and gentlemen, this finalizes the presentation of the papers this morning. I will attend you in the first place that we have some additional papers in the proceedings, and they were not selected for the presentation here this morning because we had too many papers, but they are also worth to read at least. We have some minutes left for questions, and I saw a hand already there.
Thank you, Raymond Signet from the Port of Rotterdam. I would like to have the opinion of the panel on the following, as the possibilities for reuse of AIS data increase every day. Perhaps there's a need for a legal framework to organize and guide the reuse of AIS data for purposes for which it was never intended to be sent out. I'm not sure to which the question is directed, but maybe to Peter, because he is a stakeholder.
Okay, I'll take that one. I think there's no doubt there needs to be an appropriate legal policy framework for the use of this data. I can speak to our approach to this at the moment is that we are looking at just providing such data to competent maritime authorities, and we are focusing at the moment on just the ship ID, GPS location, course and speed elements. Obviously there's a lot of other data that's transmitted in the AIS system, and I do think there needs to be a set of rules for who should be allowed to get that data and under what conditions. We are working with the Canadian government and authorities at the moment on our data policy, and we will be regulated by them in terms of the data that we supply to various customers. So it'll be a close watch, if you like, on what we're doing. But there's no doubt this is an issue. I think you're correct.
Yeah.
AMSA has a vessel tracking policy that's put in place, covering all sorts of range of information, obviously including AIS, and that means that we're able to sort of determine who we provide information to, and we limit it to, I suppose, agencies, government agencies, ports that we have agreed to exchange information with, that have a genuine and sort of reason for needing and using that data. So we don't sort of make it available freely, and that's been in place for quite some time now. And that was subject to sort of legal review by AMSA's General Counsel, and so we think that it's sort of, at least in terms of existing conventions and AMSA's own charter, it's consistent with that.
Okay, thank you very much. We have time for one other question. I see a hand in the middle there.
Thank you. Seamus Clark, Commissioners of Irish Lights. Mike suggested that message 21, our AIS would ultimately replace Raycons. And I wonder about that concept. And I'd be interested if there are any other views, either from the panel or perhaps from the floor, on that concept as a long-term strategy.
Michael, would you like to react on that?
Well, I'm happy to react, but I think Seamus was looking for an opinion other than mine on this particular point, weren't you?
Somebody else who wants to react on that? No? If not, I'd like to thank all the people here in the conference room for the patience you had for all the 12 presentations this morning. And I'd like to thank the speakers, the second half of the presentation, on the usual way.